Welcome back to another Worthless Mutt Score the Dog Butcher. Back again, finally, to shine a light on this worthless dog culture. Um, yeah, I've been meaning to do this video for during the week. Just been so busy, and with that, I've been still looking at a lot of things. It's been there are a lot of dog problems. There are a lot, and it is too much. Like there is so many things that I wanna shine the light on, but it's a lot. Time is always getting away. Time is always short. My mood, my mode. If I'm not feeling like making a video, whatever, I just don't. Too much. But nevertheless, we are here again to shine the light on this worthless dog culture. I'm gonna call this video "Dogs Can't Cope." Pretty sure I had this, you know, ready 2 weeks ago, but just wasn't, in the mood, time, stressed out, things like that. Just wasn't ready to make another video. Video again called "Dogs Can't Cope." As we all know, even dog nutters know that dogs can't cope with anything. They have so much problems with everything. Everything bothers them. Everything makes them anxious. Everything is a problem for them. Everything makes them act so weird and awkward and always moving. Everything makes them angry. Everything makes them want to attack. Like, there is nothing that you can do around these things. There's absolutely nothing that you can do or not do for dogs to have a problem with it. And as you can see, this is not even enough, but all the things that we've heard and have seen in videos, etc., of dogs, they have problems with these. These things trigger dogs. Literally. They trigger dogs. They bother dogs, give them anxiety. Man, it's endless problems, and no real animal has this. Even stray dogs have problems, but real animals don't go through this. But even if they did, maybe hoarding these things in your home is not the best thing to do, because they're so problematic, always attacking, always bothering people. Maybe we should not have these things in our community, in our homes. Before we get into it, just seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the movie. Not gonna talk about the movie. A movie's a movie, but what's in the movie that just scratched my head. I seen the trailer. I didn't think the worthless mutt would be would have a main role to the movie, but unfortunately it did. And the worthless mutt looked like it was CGI'd. The worthless mutt looked like it was CGI'd. Probably because dogs are worthless. You gotta train them. You gotta do all this. You gotta put them on medication. They have to all this stuff for the dog to do these things. And there are a lot of children on. There are a few children in this movie, so come on, children and dogs, they don't mix. But anyways, there's this worthless mutt in the movie. I hate it. It's just, just, ugh. Just, I hate dogs. I just hate dogs. But again, this is dog propaganda. Dog propaganda. It's in maybe 15% of the movie, maybe 20% of the movie, and that's way too much. But the end, it's more about the ending. Again, I'm a big superhero guy. I love superhero movies. I love movies in general. I love the MCU, love DC, even though the MCU has not been too great as of late. Um, and talk about woke, talk about woke. But anyways, um, in the end, long story short, spoiler alert, the team, the original core Guardians, they break up. They go their separate ways, leaving Groot and Rocket as original members. And then, long story short, the dog apparently is going to be joining. If there is another Guardians movie, the dog is going to be joining the team. So we're going to have a dog, a worthless mutt, as a superhero. So just imagine Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Avengers, this worthless mutt, a part of the superheroes. A part that is just, it's dog propaganda. Dog propaganda. This is not needed. It's not necessary. But anyways, we're gonna be discussing Dogs Can't Cope. Just a few things. I watched the video maybe a couple weeks ago about the lady's pit bull who attacked her or whatever, and she said the dog had like some brain tumor or something. The nonsense these dog nutters make up just to justify their dog nuttery or their dog or whatever. So I wanted to learn about this brain. Well, it probably wasn't brain tumor, but this, for pit bulls. We know pit bulls attack for no reason, out of nowhere, at any time. And this pit bull of hers attacked, and long story short, she says the dog had some kind of not I can't remember exactly what it was, but we'll say a brain tumor, which causes the dog to act out. So that led me to one thing to another, and we're going to be we're going to be learning about this rage syndrome. It might have been rage syndrome, so we're going to be learning about this rage syndrome. Shine the light on this rage syndrome in dogs. Again, another excuse. Another excuse to justify these worthless mutts. Question on Kura. Why do dog lovers blame any unprovoked attack by a dog to its upbringing? This person says, when I was not attacked and bitten by a dog, I did not provoke, and she says, I did not provoke the dog in any way, shape, or form. I did not speak to the dog or gesture to it. I was laying on the grass as I walked. It was laying on the grass as I walked up the sidewalk, and it jumped up and bit the back of my leg. It required 17 stitches. The owner of the dog put him down. So another thing that I've noticed with dog nuts putting their dog down, it's politics. It's this politics. The owner puts the dog down, and the owner more than likely, they don't get to face any charges. They don't get to face anything. So if they put the dog down, they face no charges. But if they don't, they're going to face charges. It's dog nutty for you. As a result of this attack, I developed a genuine fear of dogs. Over the years, I have grown to hate dogs with a passion. And yet, every dog owner I've talked to insists dogs are wonderful, worthless mutts that are man's best friend, and they are harmless. I even had one woman, Ankara, tell me to just get over it like it was no big deal. Guarantee they can't tell me that. Because, again, I will respond to them on, like, Facebook, etc., and they don't respond back. See, these dog nuts, they have nothing. There is nothing that they can say. They don't have facts to back up their dog nuttery. They will come up with these insults and irrelevant stuff, but they don't come with facts to debunk my claims. If you could at least come with the facts, debunk my claims, tell me why dogs are useful, why dogs are worthy then hey, I will stop doing this. But yet to see that. Just pure nonsense. The lack of empathy of people like myself is astonishing. Dog owners put their pets on an equal footing with actual human children. They cuddle with them, dress them, spend $1 million on these worthless mutts. I've heard owners say my dog is friendly and won't bite. I always say, when they say this, I say, how does it eat? How does your dog eat if it doesn't bite? And yet the dog did bite another person or a child. The dog lover immediately begins to accuse the victim of provoking the dog. This is 3 years ago, roughly the same time I started this, started shining a light on this dog culture. Long story short, I don't know about you, but I would not want to be alone in the forest with a pack of wolves hunting me. Okay, I'll give her that. Nor would I like to be alone with precious, worthless mutt who has the ability to maul me to death. Cheers. How many people do you know actually train their dog to be vicious, Cupcake? Anyways, to many dog lovers, being human is the most embarrassing thing. Being human is most embarrassing thing. And ant thing, dog doesn't even bite and kill a human is justified as dogs can never be wrong, but humans are just morons and worst animal on planet. Oh, okay, makes sense, people. Because it's easier to acknowledge their own dog could do the same thing. The pit bull crowd is very vocal about this, but many of the most staunch anti-pit bull people calling for bans, etc., are previous pit bull owners whose well-loved, completely trusted pit bull mauled or killed someone they loved. The pit owners will very quickly and viciously turn on those owners, blaming them on something that they must have secretly done to the pit bull, done to make the pit bull do that. They can't accept the fact that they can't accept the fact that they're but the grace of God. They can't accept the fact that they're but the grace of God go I. I don't believe in God, but this is a pit nutter too. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. Anyways, here's maybe one more. And this person says, because a properly socialized and trained dog does not attack unprovoked. In fact, I believe an unprovoked attack is extremely rare. Anyways, we're just going to move on. I was stupidness in that. But, yeah. We should not be having these things. And it just goes to show, again, dogs can't cope. This person kind of proved it. Where is it? They can't cope. So you gotta train them. You gotta take away their natural worthless instincts for them to, I guess, somewhat cope. I mean, it's all about food. It's all about food and the food dispenser. You put that dog with someone they don't know, and I guarantee their behavior is going to be very different, because it all comes down to food. Food conditions them to behave a certain way. I read an article on a service dog, and again, it's all about, they don't explain how they train the worth. Hope my mic's on. Good. They don't state how they train the worthless mutt, but we all know it. It's about food and drugging up the dog. So the service dog, when they put the vest on, this dog behaves a certainly different way. And once they take it off, the dog behaves a different way entirely. And it goes to show that when they put the vest on, they drug up the dog, they feed the dog, They train the dog in the vest to do this. You have the vest on, I feed you. You have the vest to do this, I feed you. As soon as the vest is off, the dog behaves a certain way. So this person saying, socialized trained dog, it's about food. It comes down to food. If you're an owner that feeds the dog is going to behave a certain way with you. But you go away and let a stranger who this dog has never seen before, they're going to behave a different way. I guarantee they will behave a different way. But anyways, yes, we're going to talk about what is rage syndrome in dogs, why your dog's behavior may be getting worse. And they just come up with so much excuses to validate and to justify dogs and their dog nuttery. Rage syndrome. If they have all these problems, like I said, we should not be having them at all. We should not be having them. But dog nuts continue to endure this pointless nonsense. It says rage syndrome is a genetic disorder that is most often occur in particular dog breeds such as whatever this is. Although there is no way to prevent rage syndrome, there are precautions you can take to help keep both your dog and family, how about the community, how about the neighborhood, safe. Rage syndrome is also often referred to as sudden onset aggression, Springer rage. As you may guess from the name, the syndrome is associated with Springer Spaniels. Let's see what worthless mutt this is. It's one of these worthless mutts. Involves the dog displaying an unprovoked fit like a moment of rage and aggression. This poorly understood disease is genetic in nature. It's important not to confuse the rarely diagnosed rage syndrome with more typical displays of aggressive behavior from dogs. What's the difference? Again, what's the difference? It's brain dead behavior. Brain dead behavior. You don't see this in the real animal world. You don't see it in the real animal world. Real animals have structure. Real animals have structure that they follow. Dogs, not so much. It can be motivated by fear, protectiveness, and territorialism. What's the difference? Isn't this how they always behave? When thunder, they act out. They get aggressive in thunder. When you're traveling, they may get aggressive when you're traveling or act friggin' retarded. Excuse my language. They see children running, they're gonna act aggressive. The weather changes, they're gonna act aggressive. They can't even when they're not clean, they're gonna act aggressive. They're invasive, they act aggressive. They left alone, they act aggressive. They see people, they act aggressive. Noise, they're gonna act aggressive. Something drops, they're going to act aggressive. Fireworks, they're going to act aggressive. They're stressed out, they're going to act aggressive. They live in a shelter, they're going to act aggressive. They see delivery people, they're going to act aggressive. They're going to be fearful. They're going to be protective. They're going to be territorial, etc., etc., etc. It's just an excuse. This rage syndrome is just an excuse to validate these worthless mutts. These dog nuts, they band together, the higher ups. They band together and say, how else can we justify these worthless mutts? If this happens, we got to come up with something. Just make it up so people can keep purchasing these worthless mutts. We are a $1 billion industry. We cannot let the truth out. We cannot be honest and say, hey, these dogs are brain dead. We got to keep saying a lie. A nice lie that people will believe. No, not people. Dogness will believe. And they come with these stupid things like rage syndrome. And personally, I don't think it's true. I think, again, these dogs are brain dead. They're brain dead. The causes, again, they say genetics, nature. Some breeds are far more likely to develop the problem than others. All these other worthless mutts may likely have rage syndrome. However, even among breeds are generally linked to rage syndrome. And I said in previous videos, like, what if the dog just doesn't want to be with that owner? It's not like the dog chooses to be there. What if this owner is just a horrible person? They make bad cooking, bad music. They're just annoying. And they just don't want to be there. But dogs are brain dead. So instead of, escaping to live in the woods, they're going to remain where their food sources are. Food sources. They're just going to put up with it while they hate this owner. Maybe they just hate the owner because they can't choose. And if the dog doesn't listen to the owner's going to think it's them. And instead of giving up the dog, they're going to get a trainer to train the dog to like them. Just maybe it's the owner. Maybe it is the owner. But yeah, I'm not going to read all into this nonsense. If I read this last one. How do you know if your dog has rage syndrome? Dogs with rage syndrome may exhibit sudden, unpredictable outbursts of aggressive behavior. Don't all dogs technically do this? Pit bulls especially. Often without warning or provocation. The aggression may be directed towards people or other animals and can be intense. Unlike other forms of aggression, dogs with rage syndrome may not show any warning signs before they become aggressive. Long story short, they may growl, snarl, show their teeth. This can be a sign of intense emotional distress. Dogs with rage syndrome have a history of aggressive behavior. I think this all goes back down to dogs being brain dead. They're just brain dead. They're brain dead. Dogs are brain dead. They're brain damaged. They're not real animals. They're made in labs. They're mutants. They're abominations. So expect things like this. Just like zombies. Expect it. I always like to look at two sources or more than one source. Again, it's unpredictable aggression. Forms of aggressive dog results from some kind of trigger, such as fear, aggression, anxiety when they're protecting their territory. With rage syndrome, however, there is no clear reason for the aggressive behavior. It is classified, therefore, as idiopathic aggression. Again, they just make up these things. They make it up. They make it up. And the fact remains, again, I'm going to keep saying it, dogs are brain dead. Dogs are brain dead. The characteristics are they get triggered by pretty much nothing. We can say dogs erupt in intense, explosive, extremely aggressive behavior. Sudden outbursts. Sudden onset of rage episodes. Dog may demonstrate glazed, possessed look in the eyes. Is more common in certain breeds breeding like like these worthless mutts. English, all these worthless mutts, yada 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 yada. This point is possible genetic disorder, at least genetic component is part of the cause. So again, they go back to genetics. And don't dog lovers say that all dogs are the same? Not all dogs are equally aggressive or whatever the case may be. But yet here they say that this RAID syndrome is in these worthless mutts. But surprisingly, they don't add the pit bull here. What are the warning signs of dog aggression? We've read through this many times, but again, it's always good to go through it again and again and again to see how ridiculous these things are. The warning signs are anxious, fearful, alert, aggressive, and it goes back to this. Dogs can't cope. Everything, nearly everything, the most random, most little things trigger them. Like it's bad. I don't get it. Everything triggers these things. The other day, there's a cat, outdoor cat sometimes, and I don't pass it. It's on the other side of the street, and it looks me. It stares at me. I get into my vehicle. I drive off. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. The other day again, I seen it like stalking a bird, like literally on the street. But it didn't attack it though. Like for like the second day I've seen it do this. It was a stalking a bird for the second day. Same bird maybe. And it didn't attack. I wasn't attacked. It didn't approach me. It stayed where it was. It has seen before. Nothing happened. But I know a dog, as soon as they see someone, whether they're leashed or unleashed, they always want to approach them. Always getting anxious. God, like, this is annoying. Once a dog sees you, they always have to approach you. Why? Am I just because I'm walking? Am I triggering it? And it's not just cats, birds, other animals, squirrels, rabbits. I see hawks in the air. I've seen raccoons, skunks, etc. And none of them have approached me or anything. None of them is approaching other people. Seagulls, none of them approach people. They just stick to themselves for the most part. But dogs, it's like everything bothers them. You gotta look at the warning signs. You gotta look at this. They can't cope with this. You gotta do this. But all the other real animals see people every day, but none of them seem anxious. None of them are hurting people. But dogs, again, they are brain dead. Because the first sight of a human, they want to go and attack them, approach them, bark at them, growl at them, show this aggression, be anxious, fearful, territorial. But real animals don't do anything. They just stick to themselves. I've seen there's a lake, or not a lake, a pond down the road. We'll say down the road. And it has swans there. Like beautiful, beautiful swans. And you see swans in pictures and videos, it doesn't do you justice. You see them, when you see a swan close up in real life, these things are huge. They're huge. And I know they can be aggressive because they're protecting their young. But for the most part, what I've seen, I've seen people around the pond and they're not bothering anyone. The swans are not bothering them. They're not approaching anyone. None of that is happening. But I guess when they're mating, whatever, mate season, I guess that's when they may get a little aggressive. The Canadian geese, same thing. They don't bother anybody. I know they can be aggressive for the most part. They don't bother anyone. They stick to themselves. They stick to their flock. So how come it's only dogs? Dogs who have been socialized with people for over 10, maybe 3,000, 10,000 years maybe. Why is it only dogs that show this nonsense, show aggression towards people? Isn't it because dogs are mutants, abominations created in labs? They're not real animals, and most importantly, they're brain dead. So it's pretty much the same. Rage syndrome can be the result of genetic disorder. We already know that. Unpredictable, like any dog is. Like anything bothers these things. Like anything, everything bothers them. And they offer medication. This is about aggression towards owners. Aggression toward owners is always problematic, but when is it pathologic? I'm not gonna read all of it. Read a little bit. Let's see. To the introduction. Owner-directed aggression is problematic for any dog, and owner it most commonly comes in two forms of genetic disorder referred to as rage syndrome, and more typically diagnosed called conflict aggression. Here we go again. Another made up nonsense. Behavior associated with rage syndrome includes outbursts of aggression that are intense and at the times unpredictable. These episodes also tend to be large dramatic responses relative to a seemingly benign situation. Affected dogs often freeze, stare, and may repeatedly escalate to biting, which they always do anyways. This intense aggression contrasts with dogs' otherwise pleasant personality. After episodes of aggression, dogs may not be fully aware of what just happened, and they never are, because they're brainwashed, conditioned, worthless, brain dead mutts. In comparison to conflict aggression is the diagnosis of the more typical variant of owner-directed aggression. Dogs with conflict aggression tend to exhibit somewhat ambivalent body postures, tail tuck, lunge, etc., and tend to display warning signs prior to bite incidents. So I guess conflict aggression is warning signs, whereas rage syndrome is, I guess, unpredictable. Which all in all, it could all be meshed together, because dogs do this all the time. This happens. A lot of dog attacks just happen out of the blue. Out of the blue. A lot of maulings happen out of the blue. We hear them like every day. Stray dogs, whether they're owned. Cedar Milan's dog. It's just, you can't. I don't know. There's no denying this. There's no denying this. Not gonna read this. We already get the point here. We get the point. Once a myth is out there, it's hard to get rid of. And they said I would advise anyone whose vet diagnosed their dog with this horrible syndrome to immediately change vets and urgently seek support from a qualified canine behaviorist. So this page is basically saying rage syndrome is a myth. And it's not the dog, it's pretty much the owner. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. But as I'm saying, dogs are brain dead. Dogs are brain dead, worthless mutts. In this picture, you could see it on the side. Yep. This dog swallowed a needle This dog ate and swallowed a needle. Tell me that ain't um, a brain dead, worthless mutt. A needle. We have a ball. Is that a knife? Looks like a knife. Looks like a knife to me. Okay, let's see how dumb these dogs are. 9 truly astonishing things dogs have eaten. And these are things that people say, no, sorry. Dog nuts say dogs are smart. But they're eating golf balls. They're eating super glue. They're eating rocks. They're eating wedding cake. Oh no, it's eating food. Everything. Watermelon. Again, what's odd about dogs eating this healthy, nutritious food, you may ask? Well, it's not so much what they're eating here. It's all about how they're eating it. Yes, dogs eating watermelon has become a viral trend. When you watch this video, you'll see why it will make you smile. Okay. Ate a toy truck. It ate Thomas the Tank Engine. They said a knife. They ate a knife. How do you eat a knife? They ate a knife. It ate a knife. And she's smiling? I don't get it. Why are you smiling? Because she's probably brain dead too. She's a dog nutter. And they say that these things are smart? And they make up things like rage syndrome, conflict aggression, while they're eating needles and knives. And again, dogs are worthless and they can't take care of themselves. So how the hell can these things be smart? We have all seen very many pictures of this. Trying to attack a porcupine and failing, but you're gonna keep going at it. I've seen a video with 3 porcupines, 2 grown porcupines, 1 little baby porcupine, and a leopard was trying to attack the baby porcupine. So we have 1 leopard versus 3 porcupines. And guess what? The leopard, even though the leopard wasn't successful, the leopard left without looking like this. The leopard did not look like this. The leopard did not look like this at all. If dogs are so smart, why are they looking like this after going up against a porcupine? 1 porcupine. But a leopard going up against 3? 2 grown porcupines? 1 baby? Didn't end up looking like this. That's another thing that's wrong with these dogs. They lack the survival instincts. They lack the flight or fight instincts. And that's what you need to survive. Sometimes certain things are just too big, too dangerous for us to handle, where we have to say, no, let's not do it. Hey, we can flight this. Let's do it. But dogs don't have that. It's just attack, attack, attack. Even though you've looked like this, again, it didn't just happen like once. This is multiple times. Multiple times. Look at this. You think after the first few, this thing would have stopped? Brain dead abominations. Again, this is how dumb they are. This is how dumb these dogs are. This is dumb. This is dumb behavior. It's dumb. To me, this is what a dog's brain looks like. It's a rotten, moldy, disgusting, mushy brain. This is a dog's brain. Solution? Feed it food. That's the dog and the solution. Feed the dog food. Dog does this, feed it food. You want the dog to do this, feed it food. Want dog to stop, feed it food. Or you can drug up the dog. Or pay various trainers to train your worthless mutt. You can victim blame. Blame the victim. Blame yourself, blame the owner. Or give the worthless mutt the pokey doke. Put that worthless mutt to sleep. Put them all to sleep. Again, all dogs should be eliminated. So yeah, there you have it. More nonsense created to justify, to make excuses for these worthless mutts. I believe, and I know, and I believe, and I'm going to go with a lot of these excuses. Like rage syndrome is made up bullshit to justify the dog, to validate the dog, to keep the dog around. Just make it up. Just make it up. When in fact, the truth is that dogs' brains are damaged. They're damaged, mushy, just like this. Even worse, probably. But I didn't have a better symbol to use. But having mushy cabbage brain, rotten cabbage brain, is probably the best thing I could come up with. But it's probably worse than this. But nevertheless, dogs can't cope. They just can't cope, which is why they need a worthless dog nut owner. This is another Worthless Mutts. I am Gore the Dog Butcher, and remember, it's okay to hate dogs.